Hey there, Druids, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different, a little bit more special, and something that I'm very excited for, and I'm very kind of glad that I got to do. And that is, we're going to be covering a game that you probably wouldn't really consider a standard extraction shooter or a realistic tactical shooter that I tend to play and make content on. Instead, today we're going to be covering The Division 1 and its very popular survival DLC. And we're also going to be briefly taking a look at the Division 1's Dark Zone concept, this extraction shooter PvP mesh that originally came out with the game. The reason that we're doing this is because I cover predominantly extraction shooters and these other realistic games, and Division 1 survival and the Division 1 Dark Zone concept, in my opinion, and it's kind of clear in the gameplay design, is that this really spawned the extraction shooter. This was a game that crafted the founding ideas of what an extraction shooter would be without all of the other BS that you have to deal with in modern day extraction shooters like Tarkov. We're also very briefly going to be comparing the Division 1's ambience versus the second game's ambience, because if you talk to anybody in the Division community, most people look to the first game as having a better and more developed tone. The length the studio went to recreate a accurate New York City during a pandemic and set in the winter, and all of the efforts they went through really created such a unique feeling while playing the game. And this is important because it really sets up the survival DLC's success, because it takes that ambience and really just expands on it, making the entire city coated in a snowstorm. As always, if you guys find this content entertaining, hit that like button. It really helps out the channel. It helps me get into the algorithm a little more, because it's telling the algorithm that you guys like this stuff. And if you're new to the channel, if this is the first time that you're seeing my stuff, hey there, it's awesome to have you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and join a very awesome and rapidly growing community. And if you're feeling really generous, I do have memberships that you can check out that give you access to really cool perks like member-only videos, member-only shorts, and video votes, and even getting access to content early, and a little sneak peek under the hood, as it were. I'm currently working on a long-running series that's gonna be member-only, and that is Femboy Philosophy. You heard that right. Do you want to have a femboy teach you philosophy? Well, now you can. If that sounds like something you'll be interested in, go ahead and check out the Elder Druid membership level, because that's how you'll get access to it. I won't spoil anymore. Let's get on with the video. Now, what's the Dark Zone? I've said it once or twice already in the intro, but what is it? And why is it this first attempt at the extraction shooter genre in a looter shooter, light MMO type game? Well, simply put, the Dark Zone was this really cool mesh of PvPvE when that term was still used very lightly. Matter of fact, I distinctly remember that the first time I ever heard the term PvPvE was in the Dark Zone marketing. It is this very large swath of the middle of the map, one of the arguably the more interesting parts of the city, that is completely locked down and is devoid of any other non-hostile NPCs, and is filled with the hardest enemies in the game, as well as other players that are roaming around, going to different marked landmarks, looting, and oftentimes getting into really large PvP firefights. And the reason why I say this is a very extraction light type of system at the early days of extraction shooters as a whole is because the loot that you get oftentimes drops contaminated, and you have to take that loot, go to a landing zone, fire a flare which then indicates your position to everybody in the Dark Zone, and then extract the items in order to actually get out with them and use them on your character. And as all of this was going on, this exploration, this looting, the free roaming, there was also other players that you often would bump into that you can actually either fight in PvP, or there was a VoIP system implemented in the game and you can actually kind of team up with random people. But there were also rogue agents who are essentially your Chads from Tarkov. These are players that come into the Dark Zone and kill a bunch of other people, either provoked or unprovoked, and they slowly increase their manhunt level, which then marks them on the map for everyone to see and follow, and that leads to, well, a manhunt. So there was these really cool mechanics in this Dark Zone area that was a fantastic mesh of PvPvE, and you really where in Tarkov you're kind of forced to constantly fight, this had so much space where you didn't have to. You could choose just to go and loot something, and if you notice people dying in the message bar, you can look at your map, and if they're high enough manhunt, you can see them and just avoid them. There was so many opportunities for you to do your own thing. It was a really cool early look at what extraction shooters would become, but unfortunately, personally, none of the modern day extraction shooters, even though they are more fully developed in the genre, ever created feelings as the Division 1 Dark Zone did. It was really kind of a you had to be there to experience it type game, because unfortunately it's old now, so not that many people play it. Matter of fact, the max player count is usually in the 500 range, and that player population is split across survival, to the underground, to the campaign stuff, to the PvP content. So really now you don't get the same type of experience, and the Division 2's version of the Dark Zone arguably is significantly less developed, at least in my opinion. That is for a variety of reasons that we won't really talk about here because that's not the main purpose of the video, but the Division 1 Dark Zone was such a neat concept that I haven't really seen again. Now that we covered the Dark Zone, let's kind of briefly talk about Ambience, because that is what really set up Survival's success and what made it feel so unique. The team that developed the Division 1's New York City sandbox went through great lengths to make it feel really special. They had consultants come in who were graffiti artists, so the team knew how wall tags looked and how other street art would look and the type of themes they would follow depending on what borough you were in. They also went in and asked experts and high-level city officials what the city would do in a catastrophic pandemic event and how it would look and how it might go down. Ironically enough, this is kind of how things went down in COVID and how devoid the street looks and how no one really kind of trusted anybody. And it's very eerie to look back on it now going into it post-COVID, but just the way that it feels when you're walking through the streets, listening to the sound of the wind and the snow and the crows and people screaming in the distance, people having conversations when you walk past them, and other just casual NPC interactions. It just really enabled the game to have such a ghostly feeling, but such a unique ambiance. And the one thing that every Division player agrees on is the fact that we miss the snow. The snow is what wrapped all of this in a unique and tidy ribbon. It literally kind of made the setting. I didn't see a game with like such a beautiful and creepy snowy environment. And then we go into Division 2, and I think the Division 2 looks beautiful, but it doesn't really kind of create the same feelings that Division 1 did when you're walking through the dead streets of New York City. I think the Division 2 stands out when you're in really big rainstorms, because I think that looks really cool. But other than that, I mean, the Division 1 has the better ambiance. And again, that is why Survival was so damn good. Ugh. All right, let's do it.
Core body temperature drop. Body temperature dropping below normal levels.
This is a lot more fun than I thought it would be. Hey, you ain't got a chance. Little late to run now.
progress halted.
Good, I can use this just in case. Who knows, I might need it in the fight I'm about to do. And this too, this is good. Better armor, better stats. Okay, let's clear this shit.
Agent body temperature is now hypothermic.
Wasn't paying attention. Not paying attention to this will kill you. I missed all this shit anyway, so I think I came back.
Core body temperature drop.
We're actually gonna hit that first. See if we can make anything. Craft time. Can we make anything?
Readings indicate this area.
I'm back in the
safe.
original place I was. Nice big old circle. Hey, I guess that makes sense narratively speaking. Alright. Good. Now we have pulse. I mean, it's not the best ability, but it gives me vision, which could really come in handy if there are anyone else. If there are anyone else, if there is anyone else out there, if I get into a fight, at least I have vision. Good. More clothing. Hopefully something better. Good, 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 good. I would like food. See a vending machine. Scavenging in this game, just in this game mode, feels so freaking amazing. It's actually worth doing this. That's why I drank water before I came in here, so I can have an increased detection range on this stuff. So far, no more medicine, which kind of want to use it. I'm gonna use it. Give ourselves a little break here in the infection.
Alert. Infection progress halted. Drop in core temperature detected.
That was still worth it. We got a lot of good clothing. We're gonna hit up that base we just passed over there, because it's worth going in there to see if we can make a different weapon, because I don't want an SVD. Maybe we can make a more offensive skill. Hit up that landmark, keep moving in. Slow and steady. I've died too many times being rushing. We're gonna make this.
Warning. Immune response detected. Infection imminent.
We'll make this too because we can. Right, we'll just keep moving in, taking our time. We don't have to rush. I don't know who's here. Don't know if we have anybody on the map, but we don't need to rush. Don't need to rush. We can mod these guns too, so we can make them better. Oh, we know we did. Wait, sorry. We have to make those. We can't just put those on. Silly me. Can we make any mods? Or did I use all of my... Yeah, okay. Can't make any right now. But we will hit that up. That landmark, keep moving closer to the dark zone, and hope our little buddy that's waiting for us in the dark zone doesn't ruin our day. We have an enemy. We have a little buddy waiting for us in the dark zone. And he's not very nice. That's unfortunate, but it's okay. Just made that submachine gun to get a better LMG. No worries. We're gonna get better stuff from the landmark anyway, and now we're better equipped to deal with it. Hi guys. Fucking silent, aren't you? This is good. Good find. Very good.
Alert. Infection progress halted.
We're set for a while now. This is a good find.
Core body temperature dropping.
We gotta put the assault rifle back on in a second. I forgot that's what I switched by mistake. That was a purple drop. Very good. Good, 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 good. We like seeing purples. Alright. We're gonna hit that. We're gonna do boom, 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 in. That's the plan. Holy jump scare. My god.
Infection temporarily stabilized.
By another helicopter crash. I think I had this side of the map to myself. That doesn't mean I'm here alone. Just always keep that in mind.
Infection detected.
Smooth.
Alert. Infection progress halted.
God, the rushers are scary. You can grab that med kit behind me. Whew. Alright. I think we're ready. Our first shot. First time I made it back in here since the original time I played this expansion in 2016.
Detecting lowering of core body temperature. Threat of hypothermia increased.
Here we go. Whew.
Antiviral cache tagged and mapped in dark zone.
No problem, man. Get him out of that cover! Get off our turret!
We might be dead. Yeah, we might actually be dead here.
No weakness! Can't keep hiding if we blast them!
Warning. Infection progressing.
That was way too close. When we go to the hideout, we need to make more meds, see if we can make anything else, and we're gonna make a run for the antivirals. And hope we can survive our encounter with Bucky. Alright, well, let's go get the antivirals. This is spooky, but we've been in here an hour. We are prepared. As prepared as we ever will be.
Antiviral cache secured.
Alright, guys. Alright. Let's fucking do it. Bucky. I killed Bucky. Whew.
30 seconds.
We did it.
Get clear of the landing area. We are taking off in 30. Pulling out in 10 seconds. In the air and returning to base.
Can't say I'm surprised to have you back, Agent, but I am goddamn relieved. Good work on staying alive. I don't want to know what you had to do to survive. I'm just glad you did.
And there you have it. We survived. We made it to the helicopter with the antivirals, and we made it out. Now, I'll just let you know, this wasn't actually the only attempt I made. There were actually 2 other runs, in total about 3 other runs before this, but they weren't as entertaining enough to include in this already really long video, because as you can tell, one game of survival is over an hour long, and maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours sometimes if you're not optimized with your runs. And of course, by now, people have made optimization videos of showing you the best paths to run depending on where you spawn, but to me, that's not really that fun. I like the slow burn, moment-to-moment gameplay that survival produces, and the tenseness of the atmosphere that it provides. But before I close out the video, I just really want to give my final words on the survival DLC, and this is probably going to be like the very last time I ever play it and probably ever talk about it, because I mean, if the servers are still up, they're probably going to be going down eventually. The game's been out for quite some time, but just in general, the survival expansion for the Division 1 was such a unique experience for 2016. It was there the early days of the extraction shooter genre. It basically founded some core principles, and it really changed how the game played. It made you care about green drops, blue drops, purple drops, and it really made yellows feel like that adrenaline rush they used to give when you first got your exotics and stuff, or your high ends, I should say, as well as managing your temperature. That sort of stuff isn't seen in any type of extraction shooter. I mean, weather really isn't taken into consideration, and to be honest, it'd be cool if it was, even though it'd be a technical nightmare for Tarkov, and I don't think Arena Breakout Infinite is interested in doing that. But it was really cool to have that element of the weather is also trying to kill you. Also, having to approach engagements differently instead of just running your face into everything, because you can usually tank damage with your builds. You actually have to approach combat situations carefully, and I mean, that's why I made Pulse, so I can see how many things there were, and if there was in fact another player in my game, if I did get into PvP, at least I would have vision. Playing survival is essentially playing an entire different game where you have to think about every system you already know from the Division in a completely new perspective. All of the stats you have, they don't really matter as much as they would used to, but they matter more in a different way in terms of survivability, health, and skill damage. You're not really thinking about stats in terms of how your build's going to be crafted. You're thinking of stats in the terms of how can I survive? The fact that scavenging for supplies is actually encouraged and rewarded is really nice. I came into that final fight with the hunter very prepared because I did a lot of scavenging that you didn't see, going into different restaurants, clothing stores, tech stores, and gathering as many resources as I could. Exploring in survival feels significantly better than exploring in the base game and Division 2 almost entirely, because it's kind of part of the gameplay flow. You need to do it in order to survive. And finally, the ambience in survival is unparamount. There is nothing that I've ever played that can beat the ambience that the Division 1 survival was able to produce. I mean, you've seen it. The music is slow and tense and bubbly throughout the entire thing. When you get into the dark zone, it gets even more horrific as you approach the final conflict with the hunter, because the hunter leaves little hints for you all over the dark zone in particular areas, letting you know that it's there, and the music really kind of resonates with that. So the way the game feels when you're in the world during that blizzard is so cool. It's not just cool, it's downright beautiful. And all of this stuff I talked about, the food, the water, going to these landmarks, and really kind of caring a lot about the minute-to-minute gameplay, and every step kind of feeling more important, a little game called The Division Heartland really took those elements and made it its own game. And if you haven't heard about The Division Heartland, it was a extraction shooter, like full on. It was Division's take on kind of the extraction shooter genre. It was an open world PvPvE game with Tarkov-esque story missions in there. And it was, honestly, when I played it, I don't believe it's under NDA anymore because the game's canceled, but when I played it, it was quite fun. And it's so disappointing to see that game get canceled. Oh, and I completely forgot to mention that Heartland had a day and night cycle where daytime was your PvE, where you can loot and go to landmarks and gear up to your heart's content and extract without any problem. Nighttime is when PvP happens, and there's a lot of rogue agents. You can't extract until daytime, so you have to survive. It hurts on a spiritual and physical level that game got canceled, because it was so fun for me personally. I'm in the minority here, but I just found it unbelievably enjoyable. I played the shit out of that alpha, really. It was quite special, to be honest. Though the strange thing is, if you ask anyone else who played the Heartland, they're probably going to tell you a lot more negative things, because I mean, there was a lot of repetitiveness. It wasn't as engaging as the Division 1 and 2, but then again, it was a completely different game entirely with the Division name slapped on it. If Ubisoft was able to give more love to Red Storm Entertainment and really kind of stick with the game and really work on player feedback instead of canceling it right away, I feel like we could have had a solid free-to-play game in the Division universe that takes the concepts that Survival planted and really grew them. Also, it was kind of in this fall and autumn time period, and it was also not an urban environment like New York City and Washington, D.C. It was like backwoods America town, and it was really cool. So maybe, I'm hopeful, maybe one day we'll see this game get picked back up, but right now Ubisoft is on fire and it's shuttling so many things. A lot of players are just trying to hold on to hope that the Battle for Brooklyn DLC for Division 2 is going to be able to actually get released, because it just got delayed again. So we'll see, but either way, Survival was fantastic. We had a huge letdown in the Heartland getting canceled, but the Division still trucking along even to this day, and it's one of the big 3 looter shooters. You got Destiny, you got the Division, and you got Warframe. And finally, if Survival was, given the love and the light and kept active and updated, I mean, this is just a crazy theory, because how much can you really do to something like that? I feel like it would remain relevant to this day. I feel like it would be competing with Arena and Tarkov, at least a little bit, because, I mean, Arena's fun, but it's also filled with hackers, and Tarkov's really not fun anymore at all because it's filled with tryhards and hackers. Survival was this nice mesh in the middle. But anyway, thank you so much, guys, for watching. This was a very fun video to put together, kind of a different vibe than anything else I've really done. So I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, feel free to leave a like on the video and leave a comment down below. I read every single one of my comments, and I usually react and respond to every single one of them. If you have feedback, please feel free to leave it. I always take feedback given and try to iterate on it and try to make my videos better every single time. And if this is the first time you've seen my channel and watched a video, hey there, it's great to have you. I really hope you consider slapping that subscribe button and joining the community as we keep growing and keep getting better. So finally, with all that said and done, thank you so much for hanging out with me today, Druids, and I'll catch you in the next video.